65 points combined? That's insane. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell just put on a show that had everyone's jaws on the floor. But you know what's even crazier? The Fever barely squeezed out a win. How did that happen? Let's break down this wild roller coaster of a game. This wasn't just another WNBA matchup, it was the kind of game that people will talk about for years. Caitlin Clark, our rookie sensation, went off for a career high. I'm not going to tell you the exact number yet, but let's just say she broke a record. Yeah, you heard that right. Imagine being in that arena. The crowd was going nuts with every basket. You could feel the electricity in the air. Clark had all eyes on her, and the pressure was intense. But here's the thing, even with all that firepower, winning wasn't a sure thing. So how did the Fever pull it off? Let's dive in and find out.
As we know, she's just adding to the WNBA assist record. She's at 329.
You've heard about Clark's heroics, but there's more to this story. What if I told you she wasn't even the highest scorer on her team that night? The dynamic between Clark and her teammate changed everything. Caitlin Clark put up an impressive 35 points, but Kelsey Mitchell stole the show with a whopping 30 points of her own. Together, they created an offensive powerhouse that left defenders scratching their heads. Let's break down these numbers, because they're seriously mind-blowing. Clark and Mitchell combined for a 50% field goal percentage. For those of you who aren't basketball nerds, that means they were making half of their shots. In the WNBA, that's like hitting a bullseye while riding a unicycle. But wait, it gets better. From three-point range, they shot 47.1%. That's like draining baskets from downtown with their eyes closed. Kelsey Mitchell was on fire, going 12 of 21 from the field and 6 of 12 from beyond the arc. She was like a human flamethrower, torching the defense every time she touched the ball. And Clark, she wasn't far behind, nailing 10 of 22 shots and 6 of 14 from three-point land.
So you can't play there, but she does. Well, guess what happens when you play there against Caitlin? She'll take it, and boom.
But here's the thing about Clark. She's not just a scoring machine. She dished out 8 assists, setting up her teammates for easy buckets. And on defense, she snagged 3 steals. That's like being the chef, waiter, and bouncer all at the same time. You know what's really wild? Clark is doing all this as a rookie. She's playing like she's been in the league for years. And get this, she now holds the rookie points record with 761 points. That's not just good, that's historic. Oh, and did I mention she leads the entire WNBA in assists with 329? Yeah, she's kind of a big deal. Think about it. Clark is out there breaking records, leading the league in assists, and she's just getting started. It's like watching a superhero origin story, but instead of a cape, she's wearing a Fever jersey. You'd think dropping 110 points would guarantee a blowout victory, right? Not so fast. The Fever's offensive fireworks were nearly extinguished by a defensive meltdown that almost cost them the game. Let's talk about how close they came to snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. The final score? 110-109. Yeah, you read that right. One single point. That's all that separated the Fever from a heartbreaking loss. It's like they were playing on a tightrope, and one wrong move could have sent them tumbling.
She's still, because I don't blame her. And Erica Wheeler's like, nope. I'm hoping Erica Wheeler got extra.
So what happened? Well, while Clark and Mitchell were putting on a scoring clinic, the Fever's defense was, well, let's just say it was having a rough night. They allowed the Dallas Wings to shoot 57% overall. That's like giving them a free pass to the basket. And from three-point range, the Wings were sinking 46% of their shots. It was raining threes, and the Fever couldn't find an umbrella. But here's where things get really wild. You know how in basketball, grabbing rebounds is kind of important? Well, the Fever decided to take a little vacation from that in the first quarter. They didn't get a single defensive rebound, not one. That's not just bad, it's practically unheard of in pro basketball. It's like they forgot that part of the game existed. And the Wings, they were loving every second of it. They snagged 11 offensive rebounds throughout the game. That's 11 extra chances to score, 11 opportunities to crush the Fever's dreams. It was like watching a game of keep away, but with the Fever always being it. This wasn't just a high-scoring game. It was a back-and-forth battle where every possession mattered. 1 minute, Clark would sink a 3, and the crowd would go wild.
Caitlin has the rookie points record now, 761. As we know, she's just adding to the WNBA assist record.
The next, the Wings would grab an offensive rebound and answer right back. It was basketball chaos, and nobody knew how it would end. So there you have it. The Fever put up 110 points, had 2 players combined for 65, and still almost lost. It just goes to show that in basketball, defense isn't just important, it's essential. You can score all the points in the world, but if you can't stop the other team, you're in for a wild ride. Scoring 110 points is impressive, sure. But you know what's even more impressive? Winning when it seems like everything and everyone is working against you. The Fever's path to victory was far from smooth, and you won't believe what they had to overcome. Let's talk about the refs for a second. They were making some calls that had everyone scratching their heads. Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston were getting hit with some questionable fouls. It was like the refs were watching a different game or something. Players and coaches were getting frustrated, and you could feel the tension building. But that's not all. The Fever's coach, Christy Sides, was under fire too. People were questioning her decisions, especially when it came to player rotations. And that late three-pointer by Lexi Hull, that had fans and analysts alike wondering what the strategy was. It's tough being a coach when every move you make is under a microscope. Now here's where Caitlin Clark really showed why she's special. With all this chaos going on, she took control. She pushed the tempo, creating scoring chances left and right. It was like watching a master conductor leading an orchestra. The defense couldn't keep up with her pace, and her teammates were right there to capitalize on the openings she created. But even with Clark's heroics, the game was still hanging by a thread. The Fever's defense was struggling, remember? They were giving up easy baskets, and the Wings were hot on their heels. It was like trying to win a race with one shoe untied. So how did they pull it off? Well, sometimes in basketball, it's not about being perfect. It's about making the big plays when they matter most. And that's exactly what the Fever did. They dug deep, made some crucial stops, and hit their free throws when it counted. And you know what's crazy? This win didn't just give them a W in the record books. It secured them the 6th playoff spot. That's huge for a team that's been rebuilding. It's like they've been climbing a mountain all season, and they finally reached the summit. For Caitlin Clark, this game was like a microcosm of her whole rookie season. She faced adversity, showed incredible skill, and proved she can lead a team when the pressure's on. She's not just living up to the hype, she's exceeding it. Wow, what a game. Clark and Mitchell just lit up the scoreboard, leading the Fever to a nail-biting victory. But here's the million-dollar question. What's next? The playoffs are coming up, and the Fever have a big decision to make. Do they rest their stars and risk getting rusty, or keep the momentum going? It's not an easy call. On one hand, fresh legs could be crucial, but on the other, this winning streak is giving them some serious confidence. You know what's really wild? Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's changing the game. She's breaking records left and right, and she's only a rookie. It's like watching a superhero origin story unfold on the court. One thing's for sure, Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's rewriting the rules of the game.